Welcome to the Figure Report. I'm your host Michael, and we'll be bringing you the latest in figure reviews, news, previews, interviews, nostalgic deep dives, anything figure related. We're going to cover it on the Figure Report. This is our first video on this channel. I'm very excited to start this. I've been collecting for over 20 years, and I finally figured out what I could do with all these precious pieces of plastic that I have just everywhere. I have it in bins and boxes, and now it's time to let these guys breathe. The first one we're going to review is the Figuarts M Bison. I really like this figure. It has a lot of things that are very unique to it, and it's my favorite character from Street Fighter 2. He's my go-to guy. And if you're watching this video as it releases, I can only imagine one person being behind a global pandemic, and it would definitely be M. Bison. I mean, he is the leader of Shadaloo, an evil syndicate bent on world domination, so he checks the boxes. And he does check the box for me in terms of articulation, art style, and accessories. And we'll get into all the details with a closer look at M. Bison. So, first impressions on M. Bison. He comes in at close to 7 inches if you measure from the foot to the top of his hat. And then that's about 17.5 centimeters. So he actually does come in pretty nicely in terms of scale. If you want to have him pose with some Marvel Legend figures or some NECA or other figures in those lines, DC Collectibles, he will measure up pretty well and come into close scale compared to something like Storm Collectibles, which are on the larger scale. They come in about 7-8 inches. But, I think he works pretty well. We'll get to comparisons later. This costume scheme is the Street Fighter 2 variant costume in Street Fighter 5. So it's basically his classic costume, which is my favorite Bison costume. He even has a little tunic skirt piece, which, he makes it work. He's a manly guy, and real men can make dresses work. Overall look, I really dig it. Nice shadowing in the back. Really nice sculpt of these lines here and there. Great detail to him. Now going in a little closer on the M. Bison figure, we can take a detailed look at his hat. Nice coloring over there. His eyes painted well, also his upside down smile. Everything is nicely painted, no defects anywhere. Also the sculpt, meaty sculpt. M. Bison, he is a big bad boy. Everything is painted very nicely across the board, throughout the whole body. See the nice blue line and the little gold buckle on his black belt. Right here you can see some nice shadowing on his legs. His black boots, traditional black boots that he wears, and then his silver on his calves, silver on his front calves, on his shins, and on his wrist guards are painted really nice. Some nice shadowing effects, and on his shoulder pads as well. So overall sculpt, aesthetic, everything, just looking at him is really, really nice. So let's take a look at articulation. So for articulation, I love the Figuarts figure body that this figure features. A lot of figures in that sentence right there. Articulation is great on Figuarts compared to something like Marvel Legends or NECA, where sometimes they're a little too loose or too tight. I think Figuarts hits that nice medium of the two. Everything feels really smooth. Nothing feels like it's going to break on you, and nothing feels like it's just going to fall all over the place. You do have a double ball peg for the neck, so you get some nice rotation there, some nice movement. And then on the neck, little meat joint right there, so you get extra movement for his whole headpiece. Over here, you do have what looks like to be, I'm not sure what this joint is, but it's like kind of like a ball peg right there. So you can move up like that. The shoulder pads are also on a peg right there, so you do get some extra movement. If you want to move them up, have them fly like that. So that's really nice. No bicep swivel, as we said before, but you can turn out the arms this much, and you do get a swivel at the elbows, so you can bring them in like so. Double jointed elbows as well. And a little elbow peanut right there. Wrist hinges, they are on the ball peg. You can't move them too much because because of the wristband. Ab diaphragm, really nice, excellent range. Look at him just go. Oh yeah, moving it and churning it. Move forward that much, move back that much. He's checking you out. Are you checking me out? Are you checking me out? Move him up over here. Get a little bison butt. Legs go out that much. And if we take a look at his crotch, why don't you? You see this T piece of plastic right there, I guess to give him support and to cover the crotchal gaps that would usually be there. Close that up, and we have some upper thigh swivels, so you get a decent amount of range over there. Single jointed knee, go back about that much. You won't miss the double joint knee. It gets enough range. It gets the job done. Ankle articulation, up, down, left and right, some great ankle movement, and toe articulation. So overall, I think it's an absolutely fantastic figure in terms of articulation. You can move it in any sort of pose you can possibly imagine. If you want to recreate certain power moves that he would do in the games, you can do that. Or just have him stand there looking like an absolute goddamn boss. The final boss. It works either way. So in terms of accessories, let's get to that right now. For accessories, they are a little limited, but what he does bring is actually pretty cool. You have this alternate grinning face, which I love. I mean, look at that butt chin, too. That is a fine butt chin Bison had. That's how you know someone's evil, by how buddy their chin is. And this one's great. Again, very similar to the first one, just with a grin. This is most likely the face that I will have him using. Besides that, you have these folded arms that snap on to his sockets, which I'll show you in a second, and also these alternate open hands, and you have these translucent cycle flames, which are painted really nice, and you just pop them in like so, and there you go. Yeah, and he holds them really nicely. And now this is always very scary to do with your figures. You're basically going to want to rip off the plastic arms. This peg that we saw before in the articulation portion, you just kind of pull it out. Oh man, that kind of hurts me. It hurt me more than it hurt you, Bison, trust me. Same thing on this one. So now he just got a bunch of nubs right there. So you're going to take these two arms and just kind of slip them in ever so kind of gently. A little bit of push, and they should just kind of go in like that, because Bison is not Bison unless he can cross his arms like a badass. Okay, I think I got it. This would be a great first run. This is my first time doing this, and yeah, there he goes. And now he's just looking really, really mean. More mean than what he usually looks like. And again, for the head, just pop that thing off much more easily than the arms. Take off the face, put the face on the hat, pop it in, and there you have your menacing Bison. Well, that's what I think the M stands for. Either that or Maximilian, Modest Yahoo. That's to compare him to other figures. We have the 80th anniversary Captain America from Marvel Legends, and we have the Ultimate T800 from NECA, and these are 6-7-inch figures. And as he's a 7-inch figure himself, he scales pretty well. So if you want to have some crossover battles, X-Men, Marvel versus Street Fighter, you can do that, or have him with some movie figures as well. You can just cross-pollinate. Also, we have Mikey from the NECA Movie Turtle line, and again, also works well. So if you want to have him with Shredder, I mean, ultimate bad guy duo, you can just kind of recreate, or just create any scene that you could imagine in your mind if you want to go full geek or whatever. And then also for a comparison with other figures in the line, we have him with Ryu. And there's Ryu getting ready to blast a Hadouken. So a little hunched over right now, but we can pose him out. Didn't want to do this, but I'll do it. And there you go. You have the perfect scale right there. Oh, and I almost forgot, this printed stage background of Bison comes with the toy. Yeah, it's it's nicely printed. It's detailed, but it's kind of warped. You don't really care about this. I don't care about this. Figuarts, we don't care about this. This is nice, but they can barely stand up. They kind of fall, and I'm just throwing it away. It's just basura. So maybe for next time, other accessories would be like a stand or another effect. Come on. Okay, so now comes the final report on the Raul Julia figure, the M. Bison Figuarts figure. I really like it. I think it's a very solid, very good figure. Art, aesthetic is great. Articulation, superb. Accessories, they're good. You know, I like the alternate hands and these foldable arms. The background pieces, yeah, I don't really care for them. They help for the photography, but that's my only nitpick. You know, this is also a very expensive figure, coming at about $70, including shipping. So if you're comfortable with that price point, I think he's a great addition to your collection. If you like Street Fighter collectibles, if you like very posable action figures, if you want something that also just looks nice on your shelf, I think he gets the job done. So I definitely recommend him. And I thank everyone for tuning in to the Figure Report. Please like, comment, share, and remember to always take care of yourselves and your toys.